Cass County Commission meeting to order, and we'll take the roll call of the members.
Commissioner Flacco,
Present.
Commissioner Breitling,
Present.
Commissioner Bettel,
Here.
and Commissioner Grinberg.
Here.
Commissioner Capitan.
I'm here too, thank you.
With that, Commissioner Capitan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Next, I'd look for approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there a motion?
I move for its approval.
It's been moved, and is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we'll have a order of the agenda. Look for a motion to approve the order of agenda.
Mike also moves.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, we'll take the roll. Or no, voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Same side, motion carries. Next up, approval of the consent agenda. Before I ask for a motion, I would just make a point. In our pre-planning last week for today's agenda, we intentionally pulled a couple items which are traditionally on the consent agenda to the regular agenda with a thought, as two new members come on board, to have some additional background as you school up on your role as a county commissioner. So items 3 and items 4 would have typically been on the consent agenda, but we felt those would be two additional items to have a little more information provided as you acclimate to your role here. So just a point of order there. So now I'd accept a motion on the consent agenda.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Breitling. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Any discussion? Take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Capitan,
Yes.
Commissioner Grinberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco,
Yes.
Commissioner Breitling,
Yes.
Commissioner Bettel.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now's our time for public comment. Is there anyone who'd like to? Yes, sir, please.
Come forward.
Yes, please. State your name and
Okay.
thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Olson and I live on a farmstead just south of here in Richland County. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come here today and provide some important information regarding a project that potentially could affect all of the Red River Valley. You may have heard on the news recently about the proposed Abercrombie dairy that is being brought in by a large LLP called Riverview. This 12,500 head dairy confined animal feed operation, or CAFO as they are commonly called, will be located just 3 miles south of the city of Abercrombie. This CAFO was quietly started back in January, February of 2024, but not brought to the awareness until August 2024. Since that time, several community members have been getting together to educate ourselves and fully understand how this mega dairy will be affecting the surrounding communities. What we have learned is beyond the scope of simple concern. Without getting into all the concerns that the community has, I will keep my points directed to the most urgent and pertinent issue, that is water. With water being one of the most valuable resources that we have, most everyone has the same concern about not only the amount of water, but likely contamination of this entire Red River Valley. I am bringing all this information to the Cass County Commission because this proposed mega dairy will be affecting not only Richland County, but Cass County as well, and potentially many other communities along the Red River. The environmental impact that this dairy could have on our resources is not something that we can ignore. I am not here to try and convince you that animal agriculture is a bad thing. Animal agriculture growth is a positive thing for our state, but location must be carefully considered. Let me start with water usage. This dairy will require a minimum of 350,000 gallons of water per day. That equates to more than 120 million gallons of water per year. Where that water will be coming from is still in question. I will tell you, though, that there is currently an application for appropriation of water with the state that is requesting a pumping rate of 2,000 gallons of surface water per minute. That site for appropriation is directly next to the Red River. We have to ask ourselves, How will this affect the Red River and others who rely on the river north of the site? Is there enough water in the Red River to handle something like this? And how will it be affected in years of droughts? Now, the other huge concern is water contamination. The proposed Abercrombie Dairy is 1.4 miles from the Wild Rice River and 1.8 miles from the Red River. The community members have hired Dave Erickson, a respected hydrologist from Montana, to review the exact data from what the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality has gathered, and has concluded in his findings that the water in our valley will be contaminated from this one mega dairy. The contamination will be coming from the lagoons, manure spreading, heavy rainfall events, flooding, and etc. The bottom of these manure pit lagoons are only about 22 inches from the water table. The state does allow these lagoons to have a certain seepage rate, and calculating with that allowable seepage rate, our water table could easily be contaminated in only about a year's time. The state of Iowa is a leader in CAFOs. They are also the second highest cancer incidence in the U.S. with the fastest rate of increase in cancer cases in the nation. Many experts connect this to the exponential growth of CAFOs, which can contribute to unsafe nitrate levels in the drinking water. The amount of waste that a 12,500 head dairy produces equates to the waste produced by a population of about 525,000 people. Do we want our state to be the next statistic? Riverview has not been transparent about this project. According to the current laws relating to agriculture in North Dakota, Riverview would not be responsible for any consequences or damages incurred with the above scenarios. They also would be exempt from any penalties if polluted water enters our waterways. We must ask ourselves, is this geographically the best location? Also, because Riverview is a limited liability partnership, LLP, they have zero tax consequences. They would simply take profit out of North Dakota, lower real estate values, leaving North Dakota residents responsible for the environmental costs and impacts, making us a dumping ground for the growth of their business. So questions remain. Does North Dakota want to follow Iowa and other states to open up these large-scale egg corporations to come into our valley, only to pay the consequences later? Let me also add that my points here have only been in reference to just the 12,500 cow project proposed in Abercrombie Township. There's also an additional 25,000 cow head operation proposed for the Trail County north of us, which will compound water issues for downstream communities. I ask that you consider having your water experts research the ramifications to the city of Fargo and metro area from this proposed dairy. Thank you once again for your time. I will stay until the end of the meeting. If anyone would have any further questions or would like a copy of the prepared talking points I've covered. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, if you have prepared copies or brought copies, if not, we can make them for you. I think everybody should have a copy of your
Perfect.
testimony. And,
Right now or later.
if you have them available, you can
Yep.
hand them out now.
Yep.
Questions for?
I've got 6 copies.
Commissioner Capitan.
Not really a question, but I know in my home area back down in the Tenney and Nashua, Minnesota, which is by Fairmont, North Dakota, we've got a 12,500 head cattle on there, and then about 10 miles further east, there's a 25,000 head of cattle dairy farm almost directly east of that, only about 10 miles away. But I was of the opinion that all their animal waste was all contained. They have to contain it, and then they either give it to farmers for spreading on their fields if they're organic or whatever. But I know this is kind of the same thing as what we're going through up in the Buffalo area with the hog type of thing. Everybody does something and doesn't tell anybody anything. It seems to be, well, as Commissioner Grinberg said, the county can't do anything. We're hamstrung apparently by the state legislature, so we can voice our opinion, and that's about as far as it goes.
I don't know if there's a question in there for our guest, but I would just add to
No,
that.
that's more of a statement that
Certainly, we appreciate you bringing this forward, because our neighbors to the south in Richland County, our neighbors to the north in Trail County, where Commissioner Vettel is from, certainly knowing more about the impact and understanding this as a commission is important. I would, if you haven't reached out to Senator Lewick, I would also reach out and share your concerns. I'm going to bet that there's probably legislation some type coming out of next session, starting in January, on this topic. There was an interim study. I'm just not briefed and fully versed on what any recommendations are, but as that progresses, as I said earlier, I don't think there's anything that changes and brings the county into the decision-making directly versus townships or the state. But certainly encourage you, as you, air your concerns with the appropriate entities, to put a watchful eye on the legislature as well. And Senator Flacco, and now I owe him lunch because he said the first time I called him Senator Flacco, Commissioner Flacco, used to chair the Senate Senate Agricultural Committee, so he might have some perspectives as well from his prior tenure on agriculture. But certainly appreciate you coming forward.
Perfect. Thank you so
One
much.
question, Chairman.
Commissioner Vettel?
Is this a similar project they're doing in Trail County?
Yeah, it's the same company that's doing it. That one was has been handled a little bit differently than this one. That one, they're still at like phase 1 out of 7, and they've done a huge community involvement with that. But this one was in step 5 or 6 before the community was involved with it. So, but same company.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Flacco?
I would just add, to the chair's comments about getting a hold of Senator Boyd, who, chairs the Agriculture Committee, but he's also from Fairmont, which was cited before, so he would have an understanding. He's been on the Education Committee, or Ag Committee, pardon me, a long, long time. And largely in the past 20 plus years, they've focused mostly on odor and smell. There was a lot of legislation and effort around that, and not so much around the topics that you had brought forward. So, but fortunately, they're going into session in a couple of weeks. So that's the advantage you have. The disadvantage is somebody's going to have to gin up a bill pretty quick, because they have bill deadlines. I think the Senate side, the deadline is maybe January 18th. So you have generally less than a month to kind of get something out there in front of them, and just be cognizant too. There's some people that are going to be proponents from the standpoint of they can sell their corn and soybeans and those kind of things. So you're kind of caught or they are caught kind of in between agriculture and other interests. So
Yeah.
but I really appreciate you coming in and presenting and testifying today.
Perfect. Thank you.
Before we move into item 1 on the regular agenda, I would like to acknowledge Angie Sprout. Angie's sitting in the back. Angie, if you would stand and maybe just wave. Angie's learning the ropes and here at the county and the admin offices, and going to be filling in for Taylor when she goes out on maternity leave. So welcome, Angie. And if you get a chance, make sure you introduce yourselves. Next, I'm not sure what meeting she'll be sitting in this spot, but she will be in the future. So, item 1, Mr. Stamnis, I understand we have to open a public hearing. Yeah. So with that, we'd open the public hearing on road right-of-way and call on Mr. Stamnis, provide some background.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and other commissioners having me today. My name is Matthew Stanis. I work as Assistant County Engineer for the Cass County Highway Department, assigned to the FM Diversion. On November 4th, the Cass County Commission approved a motion that a public hearing be set for December 16th. It will be held during the regular meeting of the Cass County Commission for a resolution to take over the road right-of-way and grant written permission to permanently obstruct the same of 112th Avenue South and 174th Avenue Southeast. If there are no questions, I would ask that public hearing be open at this time.
Declare the public meeting open. Are there questions? Anyone in the audience or online wish to address this item? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Stamnis, any other thoughts before we?
No other comments.
Committee, what are your wishes? Be looking for a motion. Moved by Commissioner Vettel. Is there a second?
Breitling seconds.
Seconded by Commissioner Breitling. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Commissioner Vettel,
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan,
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco,
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 2, MIDA Bond Public Hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stamnes, for Metro Sports Foundation. Welcome.
Hello, Jim couldn't make it, so I'm standing in for him. My name is Jessica Browers from Bremer Bank, and we are seeking approval for the MIDA bond to be issued by City of Frontier for Metro Sports Foundation. The City of Frontier has already approved it. Reason for the request is that since the project is located outside of the boundaries of Frontier, we need approval from a government having jurisdiction over the area, and the practice has been in the past to ask the county. A public hearing is required in case anyone objects to this type of project being financed. Also, the NDCC MIDA Act authorizes this and also provides no governmental liability for the bonds. I think you've heard this request in the past, so I'll just open it up for questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 2 on the regular agenda. Is there anyone in the room that would like to provide comment or online? Hearing or seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Committee, what are your wishes?
Move to
Questions?
approve.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll have Taylor take the roll.
Commissioner Breitling,
Yes.
Commissioner Vettel,
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan,
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco.
Old, what's his name? Aye.
Motion adopted. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the items we pulled off consent for a overview of 5 minutes. Commissioner Vettel, I believe you have the MetroCog portfolio, or committee liaison, so this might be.
Haven't been to a meeting yet, but.
There you go.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. Cole, you leading it?
I guess so.
All righty.
Thank you, Mr.
Rock and
Chair.
roll.
My name is Cole Hansen. I'm the Cass County Planner for our 2 new commissioners. As Chairman Grinberg mentioned, this is typically a very procedural item here. In effect, what this is we're kind of in the final stages of the Metro 2050 Master Transportation Plan. As part of this, they do need a approval from every single member jurisdiction, of which Cass County is one. So as part of this, the 2050 MTP is a long-range transportation plan, just lays out projects, funding sources, and then estimated costs of projects out approximately 25 years from the completion of the MTP. Last time this was completed was 5 years ago for the 2045 MTP. In effect, this 2050 plan is just kind of an update to that 2045 plan. We add those extra 5 years to the end of it, as well as removing projects that have either already been completed or that need to be removed for a variety of other reasons, such as in this case, a change in the way MetroCog is run. As part of that, there was one singular project identified in the 2050 plan as a Cass County-led project. That would be for 38th, I believe it's Street West.
Yes.
That would be just south of the Raymond interchange, west of West Fargo off of I-94. This project was originally identified in the Cass County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan, and that was completed in July of 2018 as a potential road that the county would pick up at a later date from the township should traffic grow faster than anticipated on that route, and the township wouldn't be able to handle that traffic level at this time. At this exact moment, we are not sure that we would be taking that road. Project is not scheduled until the 2031 to 2040 project bucket, so at least a decade-ish out from current. And we believe by that point in time, especially with what West Fargo is planning for their future growth, that they would be the ones taking that road instead prior to that point in time. But outside of that, most of this is for our member jurisdictions to make sure that they can get the funding that they need to continue to maintain and build out their transportation infrastructure.
Mr. Susi, any added?
Mr. Hanson did a great job of summarizing the
Questions? You do need a motion to approve, I understand.
Yes, we do need a motion to approve this one.
I move for approval.
Commissioner Capitan moves. Commissioner Bettel seconds.
Aye.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Commissioner Capitan,
Aye.
Commissioner Bettel,
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco,
Aye.
Commissioner Brightling.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Did Commissioner Brightling get?
Commissioner Brightling, are you muted?
Our dog was making a mess
Oh, no.
of the sound. Thank you.
Did he?
I did vote yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item 4, year-end budget adjustments. Ms. Madriga.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Before you today is a list of county budget adjustments. This is an annual consent agenda item. However, today it's been pulled into the regular agenda to provide greater awareness of our budgeting and reporting process. Each year, the Commission approves a budget for the following year, and as we move through that budget year, there are some items that will exceed the approved budget. If the item is significant enough, the department head or a member of the department would be the one to present that budget adjustment to the Commission to request approval. As we approach the end of the fiscal year, the Finance Office reviews every budget looking for required adjustments in which we submit them on this annual item. We do complete this process by reviewing the books and identifying areas in which the budgets have been exceeded. Once we identify these areas, we'll analyze the budget and determine the explanation, and if need be, we will discuss with the relevant department for a suitable explanation. It is important to note that the original requests to purchase have all been completed within county policy, which means that the Commission would have approved any of these purchases that it would have exceeded $5,000. Under Chapter 11-23 of the North Dakota Century Code, it sets the legal level of budgetary control at the fund level. No expenditures or commitments of funds may exceed the appropriation for the fund as a whole. In addition, it is the policy of Cass County to control budgets at the department level. In the general fund, departments consist of the various county offices. In the special revenue and debt service fund, the departments are comprised of individual funds. Management may approve transfers of appropriation within departments without the formal approval of the Cass County Board of Commissioners. The Cass County Board of Commissioners, although must approve all appropriation transfers between departments or any supplemental appropriations. All supplemental appropriations must be approved by the Board of County Commissioners at the fund level and may only be done with the additional revenues or reserves that were not anticipated at the time of the original budget that was adopted. During the year, several supplementary appropriations may have become necessary at year end, and the balance of each appropriation becomes a part of the unappropriated fund balance. As required by Governmental Accounting Standards Board, that's our GASB, we must include a note in our financial statements as it pertains to our legal compliance to the budget. And within this note, we provide dollar values and explanations for any expenditures that exceed appropriations. So to put that in layman's terms, everything that you don't approve within this list or that we haven't caught still goes into our financial statements. This just reduces that list. You will see the list of budget adjustment requests before you, and I will stand for any questions on these items and the budget adjustment process.
Thank you, Brandy. Commissioner Flacco?
I have two questions. The first one's on attachment page 3. And this is just, I mean, I don't have a question about the numbers per se, but just, so under civil asset forfeiture, expense, it has forfeiture, distribution. Where does that distribution go to?
The civil asset forfeiture is a state-appointed committee that in which we receive funds that have been forfeited from legal, I think, generally drug cases, and then it is distributed. So there's a difference due to timing. So the committee.
Oh, no. To be clear, I don't have a question about the money. And I know how we get the money, I think, but how is it distributed? Once you get, pick a number, $40,000, does it automatically go somewhere?
No, once the committee meets, some requests for expenditures are submitted to the committee by the appropriate personnel, and then it has to go through the committee approval. So there are 3 individuals on the committee that would approve that, and then it's paid out towards that. Sorry, I was getting there.
Yeah,
but
okay,
just long-winded.
And then the second one is on the following page 4. Again, not about the dollars, but the local assistance and tribal constituency fund expense. What's the purpose of that fund?
So the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund is something that we received after the CARES and the ARPA funding. So it does have a little bit of a history with the with COVID and all the funding that went along with that. Subsequent to ARPA, we as Cass County received $100,000 that was dedicated for this consistency fund. It does come with specific requirements on how you can spend it. And at this point, we have had one request that has gone through on that fund. So I think that we are committed to spend about $62,000 out of that so far for the sheriff's emergency vehicle. And we do have the remaining. But yes, it is more lenient than what ARPA was. But it does have requirement on what we can spend it on.
And then to follow up, if I may, is it believed that, will this be a so-called permanent fund? Or I mean, it's likely to sunset at some point here. Is that true?
Correct. Cass County received $100,000, and that's all we will expect. We received it in 2 payments of $50,000. Once it's expended, then we would eliminate the fund.
Continue.
Well, if you're ready for a motion, I'm ready for a motion.
Oh, yeah, we accept the motion.
Yep. I would move to authorize the county finance office to make the necessary budget adjustments according to the attached document that was presented to us and available online.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded, discussion? Hearing none, we'll have Taylor take the roll. Pause.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to propose one slight adjustment to the amendment. The LACFA funds that we discussed, it's proposing a budget adjustment of $40,000. I was just going to request that it be amended to $64,633.
Accepted by the
Yeah, that's okay, unless you want me to withdraw and then, yeah.
friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment, yeah.
$64,633.
Thank you for clarifying that. Hearing no other questions, we'll take the roll.
Commissioner Breitling,
yes,
Commissioner Vettel,
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan,
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 5, Sheriff Johnner. 5A, 5B, 5C.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. As you mentioned, I have 3 items that I've submitted to the commission this afternoon for some adjustment in funding to purchase some equipment and upfit some equipment. So the first one that we're talking about is a major crimes and critical incident command vehicle. And what we're looking to do there, I'm requesting $21,278.95 to purchase some additional equipment to outfit our major crimes and critical incident response vehicle. And be in this, what would be included in that is supplies for investigating crime scenes, and then also tools utilized to respond to rapidly evolving situations such as a barricaded subject active shooter type situation. And if you guys want a listing of those items, I can give you that. It's a substantial list. If you want to know what they are specifically, within that 21,000, I can grab my computer and go over those.
What are your wishes?
If not, I can send them to you as well if you'd like after.
Send them to us.
Okay. So I'd be looking for a motion to approve the purchase of those requested items out of that same grant, in the amount of $21,278.95.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Seconded, discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll on 5A.
Commissioner Capitan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vettel,
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco,
Aye.
Commissioner Brightling.
Yes.
5B, Sheriff.
All right, moving on to the next item here. Moving on to the next item, we do have, as I mentioned earlier in our rotational meeting, our budget for this year is looking pretty good at this point, as far as expenditures. One of those line items that we have within our budget for 2024 is our weapons and ammunition line item budget. And on November 23rd, 2024, the Sheriff's Office responded to a report of a missing person south of Harwood, North Dakota. And the incident involved a vehicle which had become stuck in a slough, and the driver of the vehicle was reported as missing. And of course, our agency responded to the scene. We located the vehicle. We were looking for the driver of the vehicle. And so we set up, we used a bunch of different resources as we attempted to look for this person, including a canine, a cadaver dog, and one of our drones. And it was obviously very cold during this time, and so we felt that a thermal imager would be good to scan the particular field where this vehicle was located. We had to acquire the services of Harwood Fire to utilize their handheld thermal imaging system to assist us in those efforts. And so our line item for weapons and ammunition budget is looking pretty good right now. We're wondering if we can adjust some of those funds in the amount of $24,982 so that we can purchase some thermal imaging cameras for our supervisors. Not for everyone on patrol, but our supervisors are going to be the ones that respond to us in an incident like that as the incident commander. And our supervisors include on patrol would be our 4 sergeants and 4 corporals. The corporals act as those supervisors when our sergeants aren't working, but that they'd be able to arrive with those same pieces of equipment that same piece of equipment that we utilized from Harwood Fire that evening, which I think would help us in this type of a situation. So, of course, it would be hard to purchase just a couple and have those in a few vehicles, and then have to go locate those vehicles and bring them out to the scene, as opposed to the supervisors just having that piece of equipment readily available to them.
What's the longevity of these?
Of the equipment? That I don't know. I'd be guesstimating, I guess. So, but I would say probably 8 to 10 years.
Okay.
So,
Good question.
yep.
Commissioner Capitan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve the reducing the 2024 weapons and ammunition budget line item by $24,982, moving the funds to our 2025 budget so they can purchase the requested thermal night vision.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Madriga.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to request some clarification if this is also going to be a request to purchase the items at this point in time in the motion.
Yes, did I? Yeah, I'd like to move the funds and then purchase them. I don't think we'll have them by the end of the year, so that's why I'm looking to move it.
I think
If that makes sense.
according to
Next
the
year.
agenda, that is the request.
Part of that money from 2024 to 2025 when they purchase it.
That's your motion? And second?
Yes.
Okay. Further questions? And then we'll take the roll on 5B.
Commissioner Grinberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan?
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling?
yes,
Commissioner Bettel?
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco?
Yes.
Thank you. 5C.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, my last request then would be, as I've submitted the request, hopefully that each of you have received, would be that we received 3 of our expeditions in late October. Obviously budgeted line items that we had for patrol response vehicles for 2024. But in receiving them in late October, we still need to upfit them. And as I understand it, our first one went in this week or is going in this week to get upfitted. I do not believe that all 3 of them will make it or be upfitted by the end of this year. So I'm looking, it's obviously going to take place probably next year. So just looking again to remove the funds in the amount of $60,000 from this year's budget into next year's budget so we can complete the upfit of those 3 patrol vehicles.
Questions? Is there a motion? Commissioner
Move to
Capitan?
approve the reducing the sheriff's office 2024 vehicle line item by $60,000 and placing those funds into the 2025 office budget. So the 3 expeditions can be upfitted and paid for in the calendar year 2025.
Is there a second?
second,
And seconded by Commissioner Vettel. Discussion?
Just a question, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Flacco?
So if you do get a billing for one of them, we're still fine? Or it seems like we may or may not?
Yep. Mr. Chair and Commissioner Flacco, I think what we do at this point, since we work with, it'll be the same upfitter, is we'll just have them upfit it, the vehicle back, have them do the other 2, and just bill us when all 3 are completed.
Thank you.
So,
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll take the roll on 5C.
Commissioner Flacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling?
yes,
Commissioner Vettel?
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 6, Court Facility Improvement Grant Application. Mr. Wilson. Thank you, Sheriff Johnner.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the Court Facility Improvement Grant Program is one that has been operated for, I believe, many years, certainly before my time joining Cass County, and it's a program that Cass County has utilized a number of times in the past for various items that improve courthouse security. If a project is identified and approved for a grant, this fund will pay 75% of that cost. The remaining 25% of the project cost is the responsibility of the applying entity, in our case, obviously, Cass County. We have we're just finishing up a project recently that we were successful in applying for and were granted for 2024. It was new windows in the clerk of court's office area. We're very appreciative of receiving that grant for 2025. Obviously, we're in the works of finalizing construction contracts, and we'll be working to build out an additional secure courtroom in the courthouse. And there are a couple of areas of that project that, in working with the court administrator and our architect, we feel may be eligible to apply for this program and offset some of those construction and outfitting costs. And one area is elements related to courtroom security. There's an allowance of $60,000 that has been included in the bid amount for the build out of the courtroom that would be included as a grant application if approved by this board. And then a second one is courtroom furniture, where it is the responsibility of the county, in addition to the construction build out, the things like the lawyer and client tables, chairs in the courtroom, as well as there's an attorney-client room that will be built out, and the tables and chairs in that room would be submitted as an application as well. Today, I'm asking for the board's authorization for the chair to sign the application. We are still putting the final touches on cost estimates so we can provide the most competitive application possible. We want to, obviously for the courtroom build out, we have that line item that gives us an exact amount that we're going to request. For the second element there, the courtroom furniture, we have some historical information of converting a courtroom 3 years ago. And so we want to take that furniture invoice total, scale it to the appropriate number of pieces of furniture, make an inflation estimate of 3 years to current, and we just want to be as precise as possible. And so that work will continue for probably, will conclude in about a week. Obviously, we will be ready to submit before the deadline of the end of the year, but this being the final commission meeting of the year, we're looking for your authorization to submit these applications at this point. I'd stand by for questions.
Questions for Mr. Wilson?
Sure.
Commissioner Vettel?
Just a point of clarification. So you're stating that there's two separate asks, one for the actual court build out, and then the second is for the furnishings, correct?
Correct.
And then the split of the funding is the same for both, 75-25?
Correct.
Thank you.
Further questions? Mr. Wilson?
Just one further comment. It is a little different that we're looking to submit two separate applications this year. That was at the advice of the court administrator, who said that we may have a better opportunity that if they favored one element of the project and not the other, rather than get a no for both, we could get a successful and a non-successful. So this is a little different approach to hopefully increase our odds to the greatest extent we can.
I kind of anticipated that.
Is there a motion in that too?
Certainly, I'll move to take and recommend approval of the application for the court facility improvement grant application.
Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner Flacco. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Commissioner Capitan?
Aye.
Commissioner Vettel?
Aye.
Commissioner Grinberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling?
yes,
Thank you. Before I turn item 7 over to Mr. Wilson, I'm going to provide a few remarks and gratitude for our department heads and the employees for their contributions over the last couple months, providing their input to Mr. Wilson to develop a legislative strategy. We have a collective list that we're combining for our efforts as we move into the next legislative session. And each legislative session has its own feel and character, if you will. Session A to Session B. And in my opinion, this legislative session will be one of excitement and one of challenge. Excitement being a lot of new members that have been elected, a new governor, and a state that has abundant resources. And how their decision-making will be to benefit citizens of North Dakota is certainly an area we'll be at the table on. We deviated this year in our legislative approach, as I understand it. We selected 3 items, 3 top priorities to present to our legislative meeting last week. We had 16 of the 33 members attend the meeting at the Cass County Jail, with a special emphasis on corrections and our jail and public safety as we move forward with recent decisions by the Department of Corrections to curtail inmates that are destined for the state penitentiary, which put some challenges back on our capacity here locally. And so, as outlined in our discussions on the top priorities, that was center stage. Sheriff Johnner did a nice job providing a lot of the detail and background, answering questions so that the Cass County delegation that attended certainly would understand the magnitude of planning to address this with solutions. We provided at that meeting some options that were a combination of collaboration between the city of Fargo and our ideas here at Cass County as options to consider. That meeting went very well. There were a lot of great questions. And then at noon today, Sheriff Johnner and Commissioner Flacco, who has the sheriff's portfolio, and I had an introductory call with Governor Armstrong's office staff. It was their first official meeting. And so we had the opportunity to share and reinforce that we want to be part of the team and a plan that addresses this situation as they get themselves settled into the governor's office and as the legislature begins to embark on their work. So it's important that everyone understands that the county is responsible for the jail, and the responsibility when an inmate enters the jail is Sheriff Johnner's, and we want to support him as well as our respective efforts to work with the best solutions forward coming out of the next legislative session. The second item we talked about is the rising costs of the court system and our responsibility as the county commission under North Dakota Century Code that provides statutory direction that the county must provide adequate space. With that recent change and approval of an additional secure courtroom, we believe that as we move forward on reimbursement on the court system, which is a state program, that we should expand our opportunity to have more reimbursement on costs than where they stand today. So that as well was reviewed or received pretty well with some of the legislators that didn't understand the nuances around who pays for what. And then the third, obviously, is which will be center stage all the way through the legislative session, probably every day that you read the paper, property tax reform. And, we shared our thoughts on and some history and some data on Cass County taxpayers for their property tax compared to other cities across the state and their respective counties. It's nominal, the increases to county government, that the tax increases impact citizens, and that we also would like to have a seat at the table as we work with the members of the legislature and Governor Armstrong on the ideas, what does reform look like, that to some degree also maintains some flexibility in keeping it local. So I wanted to share those three areas that we talked about last week and extend gratitude again to all the folks that stepped up to contribute to our meeting. And their efforts will be also deeply appreciated as we go week to week, starting January 7th. So, Mr. Wilson?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Really, the only thing that I would add to that is I think you summarized the legislative meeting very well, and I think by any measure that should certainly be considered a strong success in sharing the top priorities for the county. I would want to make sure that to really highlight how engaged our department heads across the board are in staying abreast of legislative developments related to their office. And so where we deviated a little bit for this year's program in the past, we would have all department heads as part of that meeting, and we would not have not only the top legislative items as we did, but would really kind of go around the room and hear from each department. And obviously that was an adjustment that we made this year for, I think, very sound reasons, but I just would not want that to be interpreted that there was any less priority on and the need for department heads to continue to focus and bring attention to a lot of very important bills that will come in this upcoming session related to their particular departments. Related to that, we also have a very, very strong partner in the North Dakota Association of Counties that really coordinates and tracks all things legislatively related to association members, counties across North Dakota. In the memo here, I have a link to the blog that the association prepares and updates on a weekly, sometimes daily basis through the session. And that's one of the primary means that they use to update information, to list the bills that are being tracked and the status of those bills. As we know, a piece of legislation can move by the minute when you get into session, and this really keeps us up to date. With that updated blog, we will have a number of weekly meetings that are generated out of the association, really on at the end of the week, game planning the legislative work to be done the following week to get everybody on the same page, and often leading up to kind of a main legislative committee conversation will be a number of committees and association meetings that various departments will have with their counterparts across the state. So you kind of funnel up the items that are of most significance to individual offices, up to counties, up to the association, and then can build out testimony schedules and really a plan for the next week. In the process of finalizing those timeframes and calendar invites for the Friday afternoon calls to coordinate upcoming weekly activities, but really wanted to do two things with this agenda item. Number one, highlight the really good work leading up to and at that legislative meeting last Wednesday, but also to recognize the work that will be coming in the months ahead, and the coordination that really puts us in a very good position to respond as legislative activities require. And stand by for questions.
Questions for Mr. Wilson? Hearing none, thank you. Commissioner Capitan.
Vouchers,
Vouchers.
found them to be in order and move for their approval.
Is there a second?
second,
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll take the roll on approval of the vouchers.
Commissioner Grinberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Capitan,
Aye.
Commissioner Breitling,
yes,
Commissioner Vettel,
Aye.
Commissioner Flacco.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, staff report, committee reports.
Mr. Chair, a couple of things to go over. I handed out a couple of items for your review that I'm going to reference. If you have follow-up questions for me, please pull me aside and I'm happy to expand. But I did attend as a state representative on the National Association of Counties Board. I attended a meeting December 5th through 7th, Sonoma County, California. Have a write-up here of the board topics and discussions and outcomes. It was quite an interesting meeting, covered a lot. Again, update there. Happy to answer any questions, follow up as needed, but I wanted you to see that report out of the meeting. Number two, there is a North Dakota Association of Counties handout here with a save the date local government capital connection agenda for an event that is scheduled for February 18th and 19th. As Commissioner Grinberg and I were at the State Association of Counties meeting last week, I looked at my calendar and realized that we have a conflict here because this meeting that is the February 18th and 19th, that conflicts with one of our commission meeting days. We are scheduled for that's a President's Day week on the 17th, so we don't meet on Monday the 17th. We have our commission meeting scheduled for 3:30 on February 18th. So with that overlapping with this local government connection workshop in Bismarck, we could look to reschedule that commission meeting. We had one case at the end of last month where we skipped a meeting and actually went a month between meetings, we could do that. Don't need an answer now, but I just wanted to highlight, bring it to your attention that we'll need to make a decision there. The reason this happened is I saw the notice of this association event prior to us populating next year calendars. And so then when we populated the calendars, I caught it when we were sitting there in Bismarck. So that, we can follow up on that now, or I could bring back suggestions at a future meeting.
What's your recommendation?
If I were to make a recommendation, because we successfully skipped a meeting in the last couple of months, I would say that we could tentatively cancel the meeting scheduled for February 18th. If we have enough time that we should be able to load the meeting before and after that with needed agenda items, and if something came up on the spur of the moment, we could, the chair could call a special meeting if that were required.
You mean February 17th?
No, 17th is President's Day, so that,
No, that's our normal Cass County meeting. That's usually moved to the Tuesday.
correct.
Tuesday is also that Bismarck stuff.
Correct.
Correct. So that is the proposal is to cancel the commission meeting on the 18th. And if something came up that was needed, the chair could call a special meeting somewhere around that time.
Commissioner Vettel.
I move that we take and cancel the meeting currently scheduled for February 18th and utilize a special meeting if needed during that month.
Is there a second?
Second, Flacco.
Discussion? Do a voice vote on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
I'm sorry, two other quick things, if I could cover them very quickly. We had a question arise related to the diversion authority last week. If we had any policy that spoke to artificial intelligence, AI generated meeting minutes, or recording of meetings, and if there was any contemplation of that one way or the other in Cass County policy. We do have an artificial intelligence policy. IT Director Bob Henderson put that together in the past year. It does not speak specifically to the point that was requested. And so very much appreciate Mr. Henderson ginning up a draft of something that could speak to that if needed. And I just wanted to point out that he prepared that draft. I think it's still a bit early at this point because I think we need to flesh out exactly what the concern and the objective is that we may want to accomplish on the diversion authority side, and maybe with more clarity there, we might come back to this. But I wanted to recognize that that Mr. Henderson had developed this draft, and that may be something that I bring back to you at a future time, and just the background of what led to that. And one more thing, sure, if I could, I got you are aware that a number of years back, Cass County paid to upgrade the RRDC network that allows for emergency communication, 911 communication, and pushing out from dispatch to emergency management and public safety units across the county. That update, I was informed by RRDC folks a couple of weeks ago, was extremely helpful to dispatch folks a couple of weeks ago because there was an outage of some sort on the Minnesota side, and that network issue caused 911 and dispatch services to be down for a number of hours on the Minnesota side because of the updated technology, because of the advancements that Cass County invested in. That same disruption was not seen across Cass County, and RRDC just wanted to recognize and thank Cass County for that investment and to demonstrate what that investment provided for the citizens of the county. With that, that concludes my report.
Super. Questions for Robert? Commissioner Vettel?
None.
State's Attorney Hegbeck? Commissioner Capitan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I attended the North Dakota County Commissioners Association meeting last Tuesday and Wednesday, and our legislative committee basically just talked about tax reform going to the legislature, and then you and Robert showed up the following day for the Counties Association. And then I've also attended the Red River Valley Fair Christmas event that they held last Thursday night or Friday night, something like that. That concludes, and I'm going to New York tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, so that concludes my report.
We'll see you on the airplane. Commissioner Flacco?
I'm not offering rides for that. No, nothing much. I just want to thank all the staff for all the help they've provided, and as well as elected officials in getting me kind of solely up to speed as I move forward. Now that we're in like week number 2 of my term here, so much appreciated.
Ms. Madriga?
Thank you. The finance office has mailed out everybody's property tax statements. Those went out last Friday, December 13th. They were available on our web the previous Monday, December 9th. So keep an eye out on your mailbox if you haven't received yours yet. And the other item is we'll be finding out today if the West Fargo Public School District is going to hold a bond referendum. They are planning for February 17th, and this is for a special election. And this is a little bit of a restricted timeline, a little shorter than we usually do, but they have requested that Cass County administers this election for them. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. What requirements do they have to meet before that's official?
Well, they are looking at calling the election today typically. We have a 64-day requirement to call an election. However, because of the school board, they're okay with that.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have a whole lot other than the intention is, I shared earlier with the consent agenda, based on the volume of agenda items, I think the intent will be that we'll pull 1 or 2 items that are traditionally consent items for the regular agenda. I think that's just a proper way for the new members to get a little better, deeper grasp of the business rather than just having it through consent. So also good for all of us just to have regular spot checks. So we'll continue with that. It's been noted the Association of Counties with Mr. Wilson and Commissioner Capitan, regarding our legislative plan, will be synced up largely with the association as well, working with counties across the state on matters that are important to them and us. And I think that's just important to recognize. From my standpoint, we still need a little clarity from the association of what the roadmap looks like. It's one thing to talk about the challenge, the opportunity, who's going to lead it and how's it going to be led. So you have some kind of a pathway that going in, how things are going to move, whether that's an amendment offered to a budget bill or whether that's a standalone bill introduced by which legislator, those type of things yet need to be kind of vetted here in the coming weeks. And as noted, deadlines in the legislature and the House are earlier than the Senate. So there is a little extended time by Senate introduction, but things move fast once they start. So the more we're prepared on the front end, the better. So with that,
Mr. Chairman, I do have one thing I forgot about. At our meeting in Bismarck, 2 of our commissioners were defeated. So one held the office in the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund, so he's being replaced. And our board is letting the fill that seat. Apparently, there are a number of people who put their name in the hat, as well as I did. I've been there 3 times and out. But, and then Stanley Dick was elected to the NACO Board of Directors from Cavalier. He's a past president of NDACO and longtime commissioner up in Cavalier, and been very active in NACO. So we elected him to the board that was left by Gary Turner from McIntosh County, who was defeated.
And with Commissioner Peterson terming out, we don't have a member on NDRF now, correct?
On what?
NDRF?
No.
Well, there's a lot more to come on efforts on what's going on with NDRF. There's 2 sides to every story from what I've heard, and
A lot.
and so.
They're on the hot seat with legislation.
Yep. So I also extend season's greetings and happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Always seems that it comes so fast and goes so fast, so make sure you take the time to enjoy with family and friends, and keep your fingers crossed there's no significant weather this year. Correspondence. Commissioner Breitling, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, does Taylor have any correspondence?
Nope, no correspondence.
Any items
Thank
to
you.
share, Commissioner Breitling?
Nothing else.
Okay. We are adjourned.
Thank
Oh, I
you.
guess I need a motion. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion same.
Aye.
All right.